Hey, friends, I'm here this week with 5 reasons why I don't take business advice or life advice from 99% of the people on the planet. And I would suggest that you don't either. All right. So, first, I just want to preface with this. I am highly coachable. I pride myself on being super self aware. One of my favorite compliments that I ever received was when Victoria Castle, the author of The Trance of Scarcity, said to me, Tara, you never let anything be wasted on you. And I take that super seriously, right? However, I don't let just anybody speak into or over myself, my children, or my dreams and goals. I tend to find the masters. And by the masters, I mean the people. There's two definitions I have for the masters. One is people who have made their life's work out of mastering that specific subject matter. So, some of you who've been in my school know that I teach a lot from Dave Rico's books. I read and studied and taught Dave Rico's books for years. And then one day just got a wild hair, got the download, emailed Dave Rico, and he became my teacher for years. So I have done that a number of times. So people who have made their life's work out of mastering the subject matter, or just regular people who have tried what I'm trying to do and have gotten results that I desire or admire. All right. Things don't always necessarily work out the way that we want them to work out, but I don't really go seeking advice from people who are real salty in the game. Okay. So I'll talk to you more about that. Just know I am highly coachable. I think it's important to be highly coachable. I tend to find the masters. And even from then, I eat the meat and leave the bones. I eat the meat and leave the bones. I eat the meat and leave the bones of any advice that I get. All right. Some nights I have to do a mental vacuum where I vacuum out what somebody else done said. Okay. So reason number one that I don't take business or life advice from 99% of the people on the planet, and you shouldn't either, is that energy is super infectious. And you know this, right? People can only give you advice through the lens that they see the world through. And 99% of the time, that lens is fear based. Fear is one of the core trances of humanity. Fear is at the root of the other 3 core trances. This is my work, the 4 core trances. They are fear, scarcity, unworthiness, and trauma. And fear is one, and fear is at the root of the other 3. So, all of us, every human has a lens, a paradigm, a trance that they are living in and committed to. And most of us are living in an unconscious trance, meaning they've just been thinking these thoughts for so long at such a low grade, steady drumbeat in the back of their mind. They're not really aware that they're thinking those thoughts anymore. They just think it's how the world works. They think it's just true, but it's actually a habit of thought. It's a paradigm that they're living in, and we all have one. And many of us, most of us, are very committed to our lens. So, my lens is extreme liberation. I will always give advice through the lens of what I would say extreme liberation and spiritual well being. So, I have given myself and taken advice that is very counter to the logical, rational, financially advisable, whatever thing advice would be, in favor of extreme liberation and spiritual well being, meaning alignment to who I really am. Somebody else might have a strong priority for feeling safe or feeling connected, right? Those things are good and important to me, but they are not the most important thing to me. So you have to know that the advice that I give is through that lens. My job and spiritual job is to move us closer to being fulfilled the way that we came to be fulfilled. So that's the lens that I view through. Most people will prioritize their trance. And like I said, for most people, the trance is fear, scarcity, unworthiness, or trauma. They will prioritize that, especially when they feel exposed or vulnerable, even if the trade off is their dreams. And all people can do when they give advice is to speak through their lens, their worldview, their beliefs about what's possible in the universe and what's available to them. And so when you come to them with advice on your dreams, all they will do is speak to you from how they would envision it and how they would understand and make their decision if they were in your shoes. So if your dream is something that would make them feel exposed and vulnerable, and that would trigger their trance of scarcity or unworthiness or trauma, that's the lens they're going to give you advice through. So, and maybe it's not even that extreme. Sometimes it's just they'll give you advice through the lens of their own limitations that ain't got shit to do with you. So this comes up all the time when I tell people we're moving to Portugal. Very commonly, the first question people ask me back is, do you speak Portuguese? And I'm like, no, but you know how I'm going to learn to speak Portuguese? I'm going to move to Portugal. Also, like, people don't realize that in Lisbon and around it, you really don't, everybody speaks English. I kept trying to speak Portuguese to people, and they would be like, I would be like, hola, como está? And they would be like, hey girl, what's up? So, so, another example of this from my Portugal experience is that there are a bunch of new Facebook groups that have popped up around people who've been leaving Portugal, expats, people who have immigrated into Portugal, who have left, have started their own communities. And I've had many friends ask, have you joined these groups? And I'm like, hell no, I ain't joined that group. Because I need to protect my investment in my own dream and my own joy. Energy is infectious, and you know this. High vibe energy is infectious. Low vibe energy is infectious too. High vibe energy, thanks be, is more infectious, but low vibe energy is more available. Okay. Your job as your big self is to protect your baby dreams and to nurture them long enough for them to become your big dreams. And that means that part of that job is to not participate in things that are inconsistent with your dreams, including the stories and the narratives and the energies and the communities that are going to speak death to your dreams. Don't invite that energy into your spirit. All right. Now, reason number two, I don't take advice from most people, is that it creates confusion where there was clarity. Your inner guidance is always clear, right? You used to hear people say things like when your first, go with your gut, go with your first answer to a question. Your inner guidance is generally really clear until you introduce confusion to it, until you override it, until you overrule it, until you let somebody else's fear and doubt inject confusion into your spirit. Now, I know that for many of us, confusion is so practiced that energy can feel really comfortable. It can be, you can create a comfort zone inside perpetual someday syndrome. But this is my invitation to you to try it my way. Then when you get a clear download, to sit with that clear knowing and nurture that clear knowing. Just take the natural next step and do it in that as soon as you can, instead of doing that thing you do where you invite someone else's energy in to contradict your wise inner being so that you can have a good reason to stay where you're at, to stay safe, to not feel exposed and vulnerable, but also to not be your big self and do your big dreams. Reason number three is that cookie cutter advice doesn't work. It doesn't work for everyone because we're all designed differently. That's one reason I love human design. Cookie cutter things that work out. This is one thing that I say a lot with respect to the Portugal thing. Things work out for me that don't work out for other people. It's true. And vice versa. Things may be aligned for other people that aren't aligned for you. So you could do exactly what someone else does. This is why if you've ever had a business coach or been in a business program that had a really super set cookie cutter strategy that didn't offer you nuance for how to implement or execute on it based on your human design type or some other typing system, you're like, why? I did everything they said, and it worked for them, but it didn't work for me. That's why. Okay. And this is especially true if you're not a generator type. Our world is generally wired for generators. But if you're taking cookie cutter advice, the chances are very good that it will not work because you were born with a unique configuration of energies, and what's aligned for someone else will not necessarily be aligned for you. Okay. Reason number four is that asking for advice can actually be a really sneaky self-sabotage pattern. Okay, so I know it's tempting to want to know the pitfalls other people hit and the mistakes other people made so you can avoid making them. However, asking for advice from people who made a bunch of mistakes or got results you didn't want can be a very sneaky self-sabotage pattern. It's the same thing as asking people for permission, consensus, agreement. That's what we do. You're not going to maybe say out loud that you ask other people for permission to do your dreams. But if you're constantly asking people for advice instead of just doing them, I want you to see what needs seeing in yourself. And that may be a pattern of wishing you could get permission, consensus, agreement, or the blessing of someone who ain't never, ever, 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 ever gonna give it to you. Okay. This is what we do because it is equally luxurious and challenging to live an untethered life, right? There is an extreme self responsibility that is involved with deciding you're going to get off the track of the treadmill, just checking boxes, the culture calls success, and go your own way. It means you have to decide a lot of things you wouldn't have to decide otherwise. And it's kind of disorienting. So it can make you feel like it would be soothing to have permission from somebody else, but they can't give it to you. And I think I observe a lot of people asking people for permission who will never give them their blessing. All right. The other thing that happens, I think, a lot that this indicates is this pattern indicates it's kind of like born out of a lie of the culture that says you must perform, conform, or produce perfectly to avoid unwanted things from happening in your life, right? That's just not how life works. And I know because I'm a 3-5 profile in the human design system, which means I have tried every career. I have tried everything. I've been married twice. I've been a lawyer, a personal trainer, a coach. I'm a coach now. A metaphysician. I'm a metaphysician now. I've taught different things. I've written different things. I was a marketer in Silicon Valley. I was a corporate spokesperson. I mean, I have done so many. I've owned a franchise gym. I've owned all kinds of businesses. So I know for sure that everything I try won't work out the way that I want it to work out. But what I have also learned as a result of that life is that I will survive through anything. And I've learned that I always have the self respect of knowing that I tried what my inner guidance was asking me to try. So I show up, I leave it all out on the dance floor, and I let the chips fall where they may without trying to perfect and like make sure I don't make mistakes other people were going to make. And then whatever plot twists occur, I know I can handle it. I know I will come out better than I was before, period. All right. So know this that most of your biggest, best, most inspired, most authentic, most aligned dreams are also somewhat batshit crazy. Okay. So you need to pour optimism into them, love into them, energy into them, speak life into them. And you need to be impeccable with who you invite to speak over you and into your dreams too. All right. Number 5, this is my last reason, is that we live in an anti-mastery culture. I didn't stutter. I said what I said. We live in an anti-mastery culture. Most people will never do the fearless thing that you want to do. Most people are not on a mission of mastery. 99% of the people on this planet are not living their dreams. They're living a shadow of the life that they were born to live. Okay. I teach how to build an empire of your soul and how to align to millions because I'm on my third 7-figure plus business that is and was radically aligned to my true self. All right. So, yes, what I'm saying is you have to stay in your own aura sometimes. Sometimes you got to surround yourself with the books and the teachers and the energies of creators past and present if you don't have anybody you can talk to today that is going to go there with you. Sometimes you have to go out of your way to get into connection and community with people out there who are doing what you're doing, which is getting into alignment with their dreams and goals. And I assure you that it's worth it because the stakes are high. The stakes are your big self and your big dreams. So we create these spaces for mentorship and coaching and consulting and community with other people who are, on the journey to big love and big money and being their big selves and doing their big dreams before they die. That's what we do at Soul Tour, in our life coaching program, Life and Self Mastery, in our business coaching program, Empires of the Soul. So if if you would like to be a part of that crew, and you do, I assure you want to be part of that crew, come to soultour.com/breakthrough call and book a call. And let's see if we should be doing this together. All right, keep your head up and your heart out. I'll see you soon.